don't notice depression at first because it starts with the little things, and you mostly ignore it. You tell yourself it's not a big deal, and you force a smile on your face. However, it keeps getting worse. You get used to acting as if nothing is wrong because you don't want others to see you so depressed. But the feelings never go away. It starts getting harder and harder to ignore. You start ignoring your friends and your family. You know you need help, but you just don't know how to ask. You start telling yourself that you aren't good enough. You start wondering if your family really loves you and if your friends are really your friends. You feel isolated and eventually you feel completely helpless. So, you think you have only one option. Suicide. "90% of people who die from suicide have a mental illness, most commonly untreated depression. It is very rare that someone dies because of one cause. Many people commit suicide because of depression, which is triggered by several negative life experiences. Some of these being feeling helpless all the time, abuse, bullying, and inherited traits. After you get depression, a lot of people fall into certain patterns, some being drugs and alcohol, feelings of bad self-esteem, eating disorders, cutting, aggression, and isolation. There are many organizations working to end suicide by offering support and special kinds of therapy. One of the most common being the suicide hotline. This organization, along with many similar ones, point you in the direction you need to get the help that you need. The most common use of treatment is talk therapy with a psychologist and medications. Some of these medications including antidepressants and antipsychotics. In rare cases, psychologists sometimes use electroconvulsion therapy, but only as a last resort. Suicide affects everyone from preteens to adults. Each year, over 34,000 people commit suicide. That means 94 people do this per day. It is the second leading cause of death for people who are aged 25 to 34, and it is the third leading cause of death for ages 15 and 14. As of 2015, firearms were the most common method of death by suicide, accounting for about 50% of all of the suicide population. The next most common method was suffocation, which also includes hanging, which was at 26%, and poisoning at 15%, with 7% as other.
I think suicide is bad. You really shouldn't do it. Definitely not, because our life is sacred and you're not supposed to take the life of anyone, including yourself. And it really affects your friends and family really bad. Your family will be really depressed. No wonder why you did it. They'll think that maybe they did something to contribute to it. And then your friends will be really depressed because they're your friends. They wouldn't want you to do anything like that. And it's just not really good for society. People do it a lot, and it seems like the only choice to other people, but it's really not. And there are healthy ways to work around it.
I believe that suicide is wrong and that nobody should get to the point where they feel like suicide is their only option. And we as a society have to pick up on the cues of depression and suicidal thoughts to better help the people who are going through those hard times. If we don't learn how to do that, then soon suicide will become the number one killer instead of it being number two.
I think that suicide is a problem that really needs to be fixed. There are many girls and boys that have tried this, especially in colleges and in middle school and high school. As we can see from 13 Reasons, there are many causes to cause this. So I think that it just needs to be fixed, and we need to come together as a community to really tackle this problem.
I think suicide is one of the most important issues because depression is one of the most common forms of mental illness, but people are ashamed to talk about their illness, which needs to change. People forget to take care of their mental illness, which leads to physical harm. No one should feel completely alone in this world, which is why I think it is important to talk about it with a professional, or if you're not comfortable with a professional, to tell someone that you trust, so they can act as a support system.
There's not a specific church document about suicide, but the Evangelium Vitae states that all life is sacred until natural death. This implies that no one should take their own life. Though the Bible does not condemn suicide, the seventh commandment is, "Thou shalt not kill." This means that you shall not kill others nor yourself. If you ever have suicidal thoughts, please don't be afraid to reach out to a counselor or a teacher or a parent.
If you see someone showing signs of depression or has suicidal thoughts, make sure that you get them the help they need.
And this problem will not go away overnight. So make sure you make yourself aware of the problem and continue to do something about it if you see it.
And there are many organizations that can help out if someone's having trouble, including the Suicide Hotline, which is available constantly.
If you or someone you love is suffering from depression, please do not hesitate to contact the following organization.